it looks cool. Like we make, I mean, I look at maybe 800 images a day. You know, I've been working on clothing seriously for the past 11 years. I interned at Fendi. I designed the Zanotti sneakers. People don't know that. I designed the Balmain sneakers. People don't know that. I've influenced a lot of like trends from inside. And this is where I'm stepping up and saying, okay, now I want my shot to really create everything and make life easier for people. But the merch is doing really good, and I think people just look cool in it. They look nice. Like when I see people with it, and it's colorless also. Like it's super like hood and super white boy approved at the same time. And that's really like what my style has always been, because you know I lived in the suburbs sometimes where you know I was known as the black kid, and I lived in the hood where I was known as a kid that spends his summers in the suburbs. And my dad, you know, was a military brat. And, you know, he would be, you know, around, you know, white people back then when it was like racism was really popular and people would be racist against him. And he'd get around, you know, black people and they kind of discriminate against him because they'd say he acted white or he talked white. So there's times where, you know, when I talk, you'll hear some of that white, or what people call white, the suburb voice come through. And it's times you'll hear some of that Chicago come through. And I'm influenced by all those things. I lived in China when I was in 5th grade with my mother. She's an English professor, and she taught high-level English students. And it was kind of like my first, you know, hint towards being a celebrity, because they hadn't seen black people on TV, so people would stare at me all the time. But what happened is I got homeschooling, and when I came back and I took my tests, I tested 2 grades above. And that was the first spark where I realized that I was being held back on purpose. And there's a lot of times in life where we're being held back on purpose. Meaning like, you know, at the moment that people hate me the most, we are uncomfortable. Just because we're behind a gated community doesn't mean that things are comfortable. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, we have the resources on this planet to have a human utopia, to have respect for each other, mankind. We have that. But we're too concerned about getting the next Hollywood film to Netflix. We have the resources. There's new billionaires every day. You apply the right type of thinkers, like the Elon Musk, the people with the real ideas. Like, politics is dead. It's over with. Politics, like, these kids need some type of real truth. You know what I'm saying? And you can express, you know, at the highest level there. And for me, I came from, you know, art school and everything. I would, you know, draw out all these ideas and all these concepts. And the more and more I get to create, the younger and younger and younger I feel. So, you know, when I did Glow in the Dark, I felt young. I felt like I was 5 years old. When I, you know, got into a little trouble and stuff, I felt like I had to grow up. Dark Fantasy, then I felt like I was 10. Then I did, you know, Blueprint 3, then Watch the Throne, then Cruel Summer. And then when I got to, you know, Yeezus, I just felt frustrated. And usually I would start the album with like Blood on the Leaves. I know everybody would even like the album more if I did that, but I felt so frustrated in the way I've been marginalized and held back. I feel like a slave. We are mentally enslaved. We enslaved to brands. We enslaved to like a Benz symbol. We enslaved to chains. A woman is enslaved to the concept of diamonds are a girl's best friend. Like girls in London don't even wear engagement ring. That's all been programmed to us. When we born artists. We born free, and then we held down by society's perception of us. We just don't want to be embarrassed. And I took the opportunity to look as stupid as possible. I'm saying when I was in Chicago and Watch the Throne, I was gonna change my outfit to some normal leather pants and stuff, and they tailored it. One was too tight, then the next one ripped on me, and I felt like God was like, nah man, you can't be scared in Chicago because there's a bunch of gangsters and it's where you grew up. I want you to wear that kilt in Chicago. I want you to release that fear. I want you to show as an artist that you could create to the highest level.